My name's Jackson Rumble, and I'm a knife maker. Yeah, so I've been doing this for I started in 2013 doing a knife course at Power Valley Forge, and then I went full time in 2016. And last year I got my Journeyman Smith, which was by far the biggest achievement so far, and onwards and upwards from here. Those who don't know, Thor's Hammer is a timber recycling mill. So they take a lot of old houses, old bridge timbers and stuff like that, and they either dress it up, de-nail it, and re-mill it into other things. That was super cool. I really enjoyed working there. Got to work with a lot of timber, and it definitely started my timber obsession, which is alive and well. Trust me on that. And it was just, the biggest thing was it was making a really good product. Like, it was making something that I was going to last a really long time, looked fantastic, and was good to stand behind. I think that's like you felt good about the work you were doing. Like, I've always been making stuff, all the way through high school and that, and it definitely cemented that as part of who I am and what I like doing. I think that was the biggest takeaway I got out of that. Yeah. So timber is pretty, I think is one of the biggest things, but it's just such a fantastic material to work with. It's strong, it's durable, when you feel it, it feels alive. It's not dead like concrete or steel. Sometimes it's just and everything's different. Like you get one piece like a Revell or something like that, and you'll never find a piece that's exactly like that. It's all one of a kind stuff. So yeah, I did my course here in 2013, and I went home and I took out my woodworking tools, which were very minimal at that point. It was like a shitty Bunnings belt sander, and I thought maybe I'll give this a go. So I just started making them home. Took forever to make knives, and a lot of it's down to Karim. Karim was a really big support. I don't live too far away from him, so I'd always go out and I'd get advice and materials and critique and things like that. And one year, I forget when it was, he said, "You should come to the Canberra show." And I never really thought of selling knives until he said that. And that's where it started. It started off as Phoenix Knives back in the day. That was my first brand, if you will. And that stemmed from using a lot of recycled materials, while I was still at Thor's Hammer especially. And eventually I decided that Phoenix Knives should be Rumble Knives. So my last name, I wanted the brand to be me rather than something else. I'd always kept in touch with Karim after the course, and we did this thing for a while where it was a makers meetup every month. And so I kept coming back, and eventually I'd just come back from overseas and I had no job. And Karim said, "Hey, look, I need someone to grind." And I'm like, "I can grind, we'll give that a go." And so that's how it started. I started off as a contractor, basically just grinding 8 hours a day. And it really worked out. I liked doing it. It was good working here. Karim enjoyed having me here, so we went full time. And that really we started branching out from just grinding. We started doing our own projects, and at some point he said, "Do you want to teach?" And I thought, well, I'm nowhere near good enough to teach. There's no chance anyone's going to listen to me. But we did, and that's over time that became my principal role here was teaching classes. It's challenging. It's challenging, it's interesting. I think for me, teaching is a great way to kind of selfishly improve my skills, right? Like, you don't really know something, I believe, until you try and teach it. Until you try and explain what you're trying to achieve to someone else and make sure they understand it and can follow that. That's when you truly understand the process you're trying to deliver. So it's a little bit selfish in the fact that I am improving my skills. But I've just been helped by so many people throughout my short career, so it's always nice to give back, right? You've got to start somewhere. We're always bouncing ideas off each other. There's this rivalry that is fantastic. Like for instance, Matt made a dagger, right? Well, no, Adam made a dagger. Sorry, I think it was 10 inches long. So Matt made a 12-inch dagger, right? So we're always pushing each other to go a little bit further, and we come up with ideas and. There's just that, there's more minds working on the same project, so we get to places much faster than we would by ourselves and with much greater diversity of ideas. I'd go as far as to say it's the best thing about this place. I think the biggest one is planning, right? So whenever you're trying to do, and this sort of stems from doing courses, right? Like you've got to plan for every case, every scenario that might happen along this course to try and get your students through. So that's transferred to my projects in a way like I do everything to a plan now. I have like a 1-to-1 scale drawing what I'm trying to draw, and I have a very fixed idea of where I'm going. So that's been a big, I'd say improvement on what I used to do before, but it's now part of the way I work, I think. It's incredible. Like I find it amazing that how we can manipulate it. So we can say, all right, I want this piece of steel soft, right? And we know the process to make it soft, and then we can go ahead and make it hard, and then we can make it shiny, and then we can make it sharp, right? We can manipulate it in such a way that I find incredible, like to do whatever we want it to do, whether we want it springy or really hard or whatever. We can do that, which I think is incredible. It's much more alive than people think. Yeah. Just keep at it, right? Like it's when you're making anything, like especially these days, like you can see the amazing things everyone else is doing. I think it's easy to get disheartened, because there's always a learning curve, and look, you're never going to be perfect to start with. So you gotta keep pushing it. You gotta keep at it. It's pretty incredible that people who are like in competition with each other, I think, so willingly share information and advice, and I think that's so cool. We're not bound by secrecy or trying to sort of push each other out or anything like that. We can really learn off each other, and we can all ships rise, rise in a rising tide. That kind of mentality. I think that's really fantastic. Really supportive as well. Yeah. So just about everything I make these days is integral. I would say like 80%, 80-90%, and that sort of stemmed from. Well, my idea is that the integral is a sort of the pinnacle of forging and knife making. So I'm always trying to push for that higher level, and I think that's where integrals are. And same with Damascus. I started making Damascus, almost when I started making knives, and I was just blown away by the fact that you could get patterns. And then at some point I realized you could control the pattern. You could be, instead of just making random, you could impart what you wanted to do on that. And I think Mosaic is just kind of a progression. Now you can really take something and make almost exactly what you want to a degree. I'm always trying to do something new. I don't particularly like making the same thing over and over again. And I'm just fascinated by what we can do with the pattern progression and things like that. So you're always trying a different process here, or combining two different processes or something like that, just to see what you can get, see how far you can go. I think I would like to go for my masters at some point in the future. I'm not really sure when that's going to be. I've got a long way to go before I could even think about testing. But yeah, I think that's something I'd like to do, is to get my masters. A lot of my knife making heroes are in the ABS, like who make integrals and forge Damascus and stuff like that. So I guess that was a bit of a natural progression, is going for that. Man, it was a lot of work. Like it is. I guess I decided on a whim that I'd try it one day, and I spoke to a couple of people, like Sean McIntyre, who was, I couldn't have done without him basically, but I said, do you think I can do this? And he said, well, it's going to be a lot of work, but yeah, I think you should give it a go. And yes, that was kind of, I decided on a whim to do that, and I had no idea what I was in for. It was a good 8 months, I would say, of work towards that, with both the destruction test and also my set that I ended up taking over. That first knife, it was a little hunter, a little 4-inch hunter. It took me a month, a month of solid work to make a 4-inch hunter, just because you obsess over every single little detail. But yeah, really rewarding experience. Overall, yeah. I definitely, there's not enough time to name all of them, but I said before, Sean McIntyre, by far the biggest influence on mainly my knife making process and how I approach making knives. I would say a lot of that came from him. Karim, obviously, for just the support and always encouraging you to go further. And then aside from them, I think one of the biggest is Nick Wheeler. So we all should know who Nick Wheeler is, and man, I owe that guy a lot. Like I've never actually met him. I'd love to meet him one day, but man, just the videos he put on YouTube were beyond incredible, and really helped me along my way. You need to find. I think everyone, if you do want to get really, you go further in this profession, you need to find a mentor. I really think so. Someone who is not afraid to tell you that it's not up to scratch, or you need to do better. Yeah, it's no good someone just saying, fantastic job, great, you're never going to get anywhere. So I really think you want to find, it doesn't have to be one mentor, it can be a bunch, but someone who can push you to that next level. Yeah, I think just people pushing it. I really think that everyone shouldn't be coasting. We shouldn't be just making the same knives over and over again. We should be not necessarily in competition with each other, but with ourselves. We should be trying to push the envelope as to what can be done. And if we all do that together, man, we could go a long way. We could do some incredible things. Maybe more friendly competition's fine. I think especially from working here, like especially Matt and I were always in competition with each other. Not in a bad way, but it's pushed me way faster than I could possibly have done by myself. And I think everyone in Australia could benefit from that. I want someone to be able to look at my knife and say that's a Rumble knife. I want it to be. There's a bunch of guys out there who are, one that comes to mind is Dave Lynch. Like you can pick a Dave Lynch knife a mile out, and I think that's fantastic. As a maker, you want to be recognized just by your style and by your work, not necessarily by your maker's mark. So that would be a big goal of mine. Well, in knife making, I think, and this goes back to sort of Nick Wheeler again. I think he said at one point, there was a shirt that said, "Fuck, you're good enough," right? And that what that means is like, you shouldn't settle for good enough. You should settle. You should push it. You should keep going to try and get it. Maybe not perfect, but as good as you can. Not just good enough. And I think, I like to live by that. It goes back to the sort of whole idea of not just coasting, like trying to push everything and trying to get better with everything. I guess I just thank the whole knife making community in Australia, and in general, really. I think it's been it's just fantastic to be a part of. And I know everyone says that, but it's really quite true. Like it's just awesome. We all have a good time. We're all doing a cool thing. So let's keep going.